All right, folks. I saw a newscast at some point today, and they were talking about the the ruble, the Russian ruble. So I was I was very curious about the short-term and long-term ramifications of the ruble. Now I know it's all based on um, value and sanctions and the war and all this. So I thought it would be interesting to look at a remote view of what the ruble can do, or what will it do for the next. Well, let's just put a time limit on it. I didn't even think about that. So let's go 1 month, 2 month, and 3 months. Now, personally, because I'm a lousy gambler, I absolutely suck at gambling. I would like to pick up, I don't know, a couple $100 worth of ruble. And I don't care if it tanks out. I would like to personally own, because I have German money, Canadian money, Mexican money. I would like to own a couple $100 or more in the Russian ruble. In fact, I might just go down and buy me some. Um, so this is not a advisement to buy. This is not a future prediction of the price accurately going up and down, because it will go up and down regardless of what happens. Um, if you guys invest in anything, do your homework. Don't listen to people like me and accept everything we say. But if the war ends, or there's a agreement, then the ruble's going to rise. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Um, to me, it feels like I'm sitting right at the beginning of the coin rush, when Shiba Inu was getting ready to take off. It was a microscopically priced digital coin, and I kept hearing about it, and it kept tweaking my interest. And sure enough, it rose over. I think it was 100,000% compared to what I heard it from originally. One, two, three. I think it was four zeros. No, so that's not 100,000. That's, like I said, I'm a lousy mathematician. I'm a lousy gambler, and I couldn't, for whatever reason, I couldn't pick up the Shiba Inu. I've got it now, and I've made a little profit, and I'm still making profit on my Bitcoin and my XLM, and I have multiple other coins that I've actually made a profit on. So, on that note, I do tend to see the long term effects, and I've been able to pick up that something's going to happen. I just, for the life of me, can't make it work. Like Microsoft, like Bitcoin. I mean, I knew it was going to work. I just didn't pick up on it and didn't get it in time. Anyways, on that note, we have the Russian ruble. This is the first month. So here's the drawbacks. We got Trump in office. In office. So while that may be a bad thing, it could be a good thing. I don't know. We're going to say that's a variable. We have Ukraine actively fighting against Russia. I mean, it's a war. So let's just say Ukraine's fighting for its life and Russia's fighting for whatever Russia's fighting for. And it's war. So we got Ukraine in the war. Alright? So, and then we got sanctions. These are driving the prices down. And then we got sabotage. You got multiple players, you got false flags, you got all this stuff happening to Russia and the allies of Russia, and Russia is doing this to all the other people it takes offense to. So this is all common stuff. I mean, this is what happens in war. Now, I see two possible options. Let's just go with the options. Let's just put them out there. This is the first month, by the way. This isn't a long-term thing. This is just the first month. So month number 1. These are the options. We go nuke, tactical nuke, tac nuke. 0 wins. The ruble plummets. Life as we know it changes. We'll be fighting with sticks and stones. No winners. That's absolute madness. So that's a possibility. Option 2. Negotiations. So in the first month, well, I don't see it happening then. There's a possibility of negotiations. The more intelligent people will realize that option 1 is just a silly option. I mean, hitting a nuclear power plant with mortar fire is just bad. Dropping a tactical nuke is just bad. But, you know, got to keep our options open. Negotiations are good. But the problem with negotiations is they're slow. And they're not always good for the economy. So let's just put a either or, because when a politician gets involved in anything, he's going to screw it up. Both sides. I mean, it's just how it is. Option 3. Option 3 is Russia pulls out all the stops, throws everything they can at Ukraine, and the war is prolonged. Okay? And more players are involved. So not only do you have the North Koreans, Chinese, and Russians all getting together and having a good time, you'll have the US and Britain and Germany and Heck, for all I know, they can go into the United Nations and then I don't know. But let's just say prolonged. So prolonged fighting. You know, and the funny thing is depleted uranium shells in the tank guns and the 50 calibers and I mean you're literally poisoning a breadbasket with depleted uranium, which isn't always depleted. So option three sucks. It, it's a lose lose, but that's on the table because the first month of this future forecast or look is, well, I'll draw it out because I don't think much is going to happen. The big heads have got to figure out which option they want. The prolonged fighting and the negotiations. This is end game. I can't see that happening, but you know what? I didn't buy a Microsoft stock, so I don't know. Maybe it is possible. Maybe it's just a limited exchange. Of course, a limited exchange means you've just poisoned the breadbasket. So, I mean, again, bad option. So 2 and 3. So 2, they negotiate, and 3, they keep fighting. That's what I think is going to happen. They're going to keep fighting, but they're going to start to negotiate. There's going to be some backdoor deals. If you guys do this, then we won't do this. If you do that, we'll do this. Currently, they can reach out and touch each other in ways that are just unimaginable. The Ukraine and the Russians. And then you've got all the other participants in this now that want a little piece of the action that are also invested in weapons that can reach out and touch in very precise ways. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, we're not going to have option 1 because I just can't see it happening. I mean, I know we're going to have a cataclysm coming up, but I don't think it's nuclear war. Nuclear war would feel a lot different than what I see now. I see a short-term peace. Anyways, so we're going to go with this. Negotiation and prolonged fighting. They're going to continue to fight. I mean, they're in there. They might as well fight. They're going to fight. So let me take a picture of that real quick. Now, I really can't tell if, because there's so many players in this now, I mean, there's so many reasons to be there now and be fighting for lost territory. I can't imagine either side pulling back to neutral territory, if there is even such a place. So I do know that Putin has a reason for doing this, and Zelensky has a reason for defending. I mean, obviously, it's war. They both have reasons. So let's take a look at this. So we're going with options 2 and 3 because I just can't see that. And I don't think Trump being in office is going to make much of a difference in anything. and the sanctions and the sabotage, well, they're gonna cause the ruble to drop on, the sanctions and sabotage on both sides. Um, they'll cause the ruble to drop. I just don't see. I don't see how. All right. So, first things first. I would like $500 in rubles. So $500 US dollars in rubles. Okay. I'd also like some Ukrainian money too, but that's a little bit easier to get. So Russian rubles, I'm not quite sure where I get it. Probably down at the airport. So one of these days I'll pick that up. Okay. So we're going to go with negotiations and continued fighting. So currently Russia has hyper missiles that can travel very fast, and Ukraine has their own variant of drones that can have extended range. So let's just say the continued fighting is going to be on the basis of exchanges back and forth with high explosives. So no longer are they limited to the border and the border towns, which of course will be lined with the dead. They'll have the drones, which will go farther inland and hit infrastructure, and so infrastructure, roadways, and civilian centers. So I think it's going to get nasty. So looking at the Russian dollar in this, while they negotiate, right? Because currently it's on a downward trend. If the fighting can slow down within this first month, if the fighting slows down or has a downward trend, I think that will actually cause the plummeting to stop. So the backdoor policies and the negotiations are the key here. The fighting is going to continue, and the long range crap is going to continue, but I think the key would be to watch how see, my problem is I can't get news on this. I get fluff. So I have no clue what's going on. I mean, it's, you can't get anything good. So let's say we already have negotiations in process. So I just, to me, it feels like they're drawing lines, and they're saying we're going to continue to fight, but this is what we're looking for. So we can slow down and talk about this area and this area, and in return, what I don't know what they would offer in return though. We're going to take your property, but in return, God, I know they're doing something. That they're negotiating something. So because I don't know what giving this up. I don't know what that would get anybody. It doesn't matter to me because I'm not the politician. I'm not the person doing this negotiating. But they are negotiating and they're fighting. But because they're negotiating, at some point, the bottom's going to be hit. It's going to bounce a little bit and it's going to start coming back up. The negotiations are a secret. Currently. Secret. Cool. So, because they're secret, you're not going to see much of a rise. The thing is it doesn't matter how good your security is or whatever. Eventually, at this point here is when news is released. That negotiations are possible. Negotiations possible. Negotiations possible. Okay. During the negotiations for this, I see a concentrated effort to power through or something. So they're going to really be fighting for something while the negotiations are in effect, so that they can say, this is how it is. We're fighting for this. We want to draw the line here. You guys stop here. So I think the negotiations will be based on current and future land. So the land that is grabbed during the fighting. So if they can get in there and hold on to a piece of land while the negotiations are going, that will basically allow the big heads to figure out the best course of process. All right, so now we're okay. So we're right here. We're watching the market tumble. It's I don't know how far down it's going to go. It's going to vary, but this is in a short amount of time. The news release and the negotiations will be soon. I want to say Christmas, but I don't think it's going to be that early. I mean, even in my wildest hopes, I couldn't imagine it being around Christmas. So I'm not going to put a time on it because I can't see. But so now we're coming down to secret negotiations, hammering out deals for land acquisition and or rezoning. And the negotiations are based on current lines and future land captures. So the sanctions will still be in place. And I think while the fighting continues, so the negotiation current. Okay, so this is fairly soon. The value of the ruble will be based on how soon Russia can re-energize its economy. So the sanctions and the war have tanked it. The negotiations will cause a rise. And then this is reacquire land phase. So the secret negotiations are in process. They try to reacquire land so they can finish the process, which causes the price to drop. And then after the lines are set, that's when you see the stratospheric rise. That's when the ruble regains its rise, its value. Now, this is short term. This is 3 months. And all this is dependent, every bit of this is dependent on negotiations and big heads. Okay? Putin, Trump, the EU, China, North Korea. It will be interesting to see if they can do this. But this point here is a possibility. Russia has minerals. It has resources. It has capabilities. So it's an enormous country, and it has enormous potential. The potential is huge. I mean, we could even, if hostilities were ceased and Putin wanted to make a deal with us for rare earth elements, which China doesn't sell anymore, we could go in and get our rare earth elements from Russia, and they would make a killing, and in effect would skyrocket the ruble. I mean, we would be buying I really think that's part of it. So rare earth. All right, so there you go. Watch the rare earth elements. There's an indicator. I don't know how that's going to come into play in this, but I do know that if Russia and the U.S. can make an agreement to buy the rare earth elements from them, and the hostility cease, or there's a negotiated uh, I don't want to call it a truce. If they negotiate, the big heads get together and negotiate landlines, and they can actually pull it off. The market for rare earth elements will drive the ruble through the roof. Um, and then they've got the oil and gas um, that can just, be worth, millions. And again, it would drive the ruble up. Now, I'm not sure. I just see this. I literally see this, guys. I mean, I have no faith in the human political arena. None. But I see a possibility of the ruble taking off. And I see it because of the potential of Russia's economy. I mean, they have they have something that is worth a lot, and I don't know what it is. So whatever this mystery item is worth something. In fact, I actually see China looking toward Russia for whatever this is, and I'm wondering if it's it can't be rare earth because they have a hell of a tie into all rare earths. What does Russia have that China would look at? Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to leave this mystery item here. If anybody can, I might do a separate view on this. Is the Russian mystery item. They have something that will be wanted throughout the world. And it almost feels like a tool. I don't know why it feels like a tool. God, I wonder if it's anti-gravity. I don't know. I'll tell you what, I will do a separate show on that. In the meantime, big heads, start negotiating. I want my 500 US dollars in rubles to go through the roof. Well, negotiate after I pick up the $500 in rubles. No, do it now. Let's just end this thing and get it done. This is just a simple remote view. You take your chances on the market. I don't know what's going to happen. I really, really do hope they can negotiate. If you ever deal with coin or money or stock market, you're taking chances. So, if you're going to buy a ruble, buy it with a grain of salt and know that it can go 180 degrees and go completely worthless. There is no guarantee. Just like any source of funds. So, you guys have fun out there. Stay safe. It would really be nice if you big heads could hurry up and get this war over with, because it needs to end. So, thank you very much. And if somebody has 500 US dollars worth of ruble that they want to send my way, well, look me up. I will gladly post it on a wall somewhere. All right. Thank you very much, guys. And y'all have